Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So today I want to talk a little bit more about Big Mom. Now, after the last chapter of One Piece dropped, chapter 844, I think it added another element to my general impression of how the events on Whole Cake Island are going to progress. But to get to that point, I have to first convince you, that, as I believe right now, that Big Mom is a future ally and potentially a good person. If you saw from the last theory video that I did, I talked about all of Big Mom's lies. If you haven't checked out that video, I suggest that you do, because there's a lot of really good information in that post. In this video, I want to talk about why Big Mom may not be as evil as you think that she is. Basically, Big Mom has done a ton of really questionable things, which lead many readers to believe that she is in fact a bad person, evil, she'll be some sort of antagonist in the future. But I believe all of these situations, except for one, can be explained reasonably in a way that makes Big Mom look not so bad. And so guys, just because I can create a story which can possibly change your impression of an event and make Big Mom look better than she currently does not make her an ally or a good person. The reason that I think these actually comes to the second video, the next video that I'm going to do on this topic, and not this one. This one is just to get you warmed up and in the right frame of mind to get to that video. So let's start off with the big one that I still see a lot of comments on, but honestly, this is the easiest of all of the evil things that Big Mom has done that can be explained, which is that Big Mom killed her own son, Moscato. Yes, she did kill him. But in the context of the same chapter, we get several huge clues that pretty much substantiate the idea that Big Mom was not her normal self. Big Mom was crazy out of her mind, doing things that she wouldn't normally do, all part of her sickness. The Cloud and Sun homies, perhaps known as Prometheus and Zeus, comment that right now Big Mom can't hear what they're saying. Additionally, Moscato even asks Big Mom, "Do you even know who I am right now?" And Big Mom doesn't respond, which sort of implies that Big Mom didn't know that that was her son at the time in which she killed him. So if you're looking for a similar situation, look at Cavendish. Cavendish is currently a member of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, and he has an alternate persona known as Hakuba. Hakuba can kill pretty much anyone at any point in time. But just because Hakuba kills people does not make Cavendish evil. Hakuba tried to kill Robin. And so again, this is the perfect example to explain why Big Mom isn't automatically evil just because she killed her son while she wasn't in her right mind. Cavendish is very similar. You can also look at the kids from Punk Hazard who, whenever they go through their candy withdrawal, they become completely different people capable of harming anyone, including their own friends. So, Big Mom killed her own son, yes. Is she evil because of this? No. Let's go into another thing that's really easy to debunk at this point in time, which is a lot of people are still under the impression that Big Mom is a cannibal because when she was first introduced in the Fishman Island arc, there was clear foreshadowing to the fact that she might be eating a person. There was this crunch crunch sound, some screams, and this all led to our general perception leading up into this arc that Big Mom was in fact a crazy evil bitch. But as of the last chapters, it was pretty much revealed what Big Mom was eating that was screaming. That was her alive sweet homies. So basically she was eating desserts that could talk. So she's not a cannibal. She just likes eating sweets. And she brought these things to life in the first place. There might be some ethical issues with doing what she's doing, but still, it's not inherently bad to eat something that is meant to be eaten. And some of you might still believe in the possibility that Big Mom is a cannibal despite this scene because maybe she does also eat people while eating her homies that are also alive. But I'll say this, Big Mom seems to be a connoisseur of sweets. She loves sweet things. And so, do you think eating a person is sweet? I don't think so. This doesn't fit in line with the kinds of things that Big Mom enjoys eating, and so would just be completely out of character for her to consume, live human flesh. It's very strange at this point. Practically debunked. And so I feel like these two things are the things that I can debunk the most effectively. And so the rest of these things are going to be less certain. But still, I want you to take into account the fact that Big Mom initially was revealed as a cannibal. She also, on the surface, looks as though she killed her own son unless you read into the details. But these are both proven incorrect, and you must ask yourself, why would Oda do that? Usually an enemy of the arc, the main antagonist, gets progressively more intimidating. But Big Mom, on the other hand, was introduced initially as very intimidating, and as the story has progressed, has gotten progressively less intimidating. I think it's pretty strange. What do you think? But let's go into the next thing. Big Mom has threatened and has actually destroyed several countries. Good people don't destroy countries. However, I think that I can explain this. And when looking at Big Mom's personality in particular, she doesn't kill just for the sake of killing. In fact, when she talks about destroying Fishman Island, she says, "A shame though it may be, and it can't be helped because they didn't deliver on their promises of their sweets." There's nothing that irritates me more than people who don't live up to their promises. I don't think that this makes Big Mom inherently evil. I think this gives Big Mom a unique character perk. Basically, it helps us further understand how exactly she thinks, which is that she doesn't kill just to kill. She doesn't destroy just to destroy. She has to have a reason, and a very particular reason, which is that she needs someone to break their promises before she actually hates them enough to destroy their entire country. Now, of course, the fishermen didn't actually break their promise. It was kind of forced because there was a mini civil war that happened in Fishman Island that resulted in the destruction of most of their candy so that they couldn't basically fulfill the promise that they made to Big Mom. But Big Mom did not know that at the time. So this opens up the door that if she had actually known this little fact, that she wouldn't have threatened to destroy Fishman Island. She would be understanding. And so with this mindset, then all the countries that we saw her destroy in order to obtain materials for the wedding cake, we saw a scene in which there was like a cheese island and a fruit island or whatever, are all destroyed. Perhaps all of these countries didn't live up to their promises, just the same as Fishman Island, and that is the reason why Big Mom decided to destroy them. Big Mom also says this in the Fishman Island arc: "What kind of worthless pirate would compromise on the treasures he desires?" And what exactly are Big Mom's treasures at this point in time? Well, it seems to be Totland and Whole Cake Island and the thing that she's created, and also all the sweets. Keep in mind that in order to maintain Totland the way that it is requires a lot of sweets. And so if people have promised Big Mom sweets and they don't deliver, would go against Big Mom's treasures and the overall vision that she has for Totland. So what kind of worthless pirate would compromise on the treasures he desires? Basically says, who am I to give up on what I truly believe in for something inferior to that, even if it means killing people? We should also keep in mind that this isn't just a one-way street. Big Mom doesn't demand things for nothing. She actually gives something in return to these islands that she's looking over, which basically she protects them from intruders and from their enemies. And so it's not just, give me your sweets or I will destroy you. It's, I'm going to protect you, so in return you give me your sweets. So if they fail to give her sweets, then she's protecting them for nothing. And if we use Fishman Island as an example, Fishman Island basically sought out Big Mom's protection after Whitebeard was killed. They needed someone to protect them. And so they asked Big Mom if it was okay, and they did this through Jimbei. But in the case of Big Mom, at least with Fishman Island, she seems to have not forced this relationship. Basically, Fishman Island asked for it. And so this isn't a situation where, Big Mom comes in there, you're now my subordinates, make me candy and I will protect you. It's, they came to her first. And so Big Mom, in sort of a business-like negotiation, was like, okay, I will, but you have to produce me sweets. Just as Jimbei left Big Mom's crew and Big Mom said, you take something from me, I take something from you. You ask something of me, I ask something of you. Big Mom seems to be all about that equality. Keep this in mind because this becomes important when I discuss why Big Mom might in fact be a good person. And to add on to this a little further, Big Mom doesn't seem to want to give anything. Everything is earned. Again, this is hugely important in understanding Big Mom, in my opinion. And if you're looking for an example which sort of compares and contrasts what Big Mom is doing, look at Arlong in Arlong Park. Arlong basically strolled into Nami's hometown, took over the island, and demanded they make payments for his staying there. Whereas Big Mom doesn't actually do that, at least if we use Fishman Island as an example. She waits for people to come to her and then ask something. So you can definitely see the difference between what was going on in Arlong Park and what's going on in Whole Cake Island with Big Mom. There's a clear difference. And what Arlong did was substantially worse. But I think many of you will be thinking at this point in time, Joyboy, you can rationalize it however you want, but Big Mom straight up destroyed countries. She killed people. That automatically makes her a bad person, somebody that the Straw Hats would never become friends with. But at the same time, there are other character traits which are interesting for other friends of the Straw Hats. Look at Boa Hancock. Boa Hancock has no problems whatsoever with killing people who she deems as inferior to her because, quote unquote, she is the most beautiful woman in the world. She can do whatever the hell that she wants to do. And so even though Boa Hancock is capable of killing anyone for really no good reason, did not make her evil, and she ended up becoming a friend of the Straw Hats during the course of her arc, while initially being perceived as a possible major antagonist of the Amazon Lily arc. Look at Bartolomeo. He's a good example of somebody who in heart is a great person. But because of his character and how Oda portrays him, there's certain things that trigger him that will make him extremely dangerous to someone to the point that he is willing to kill them. Like for instance, if they disrespect the Straw Hats. Again, Bartolomeo is a good person with a very strange character quirk which allows him to do or kill anyone. Except for the Straw Hats, of course. Trafalgar Law has killed people. Robin has killed people. Even Goldie Roger has killed people. Bellamy, who is now a friend of the Straw Hats, was initially portrayed as a huge dick. There is a lot of friends of the Straw Hats who have really shady pasts and have done some really shady things. Guys, One Piece is a story about pirates, and while we'd like for every single pirate to be like the Straw Hat Pirates, that is not the case. They are dangerous people, and so just because they've killed someone or they've destroyed a country doesn't automatically mean that they're evil. What is good or evil in the context of the story of One Piece? The lines are most assuredly blurred. But when I think about most of the major villains in the course of the One Piece story, it comes down to why they are killing and why they potentially could destroy countries. Enel destroyed a country because he is God. Big Mom destroyed a country because they had agreement and that side failed to live up to their agreement. I hope you guys can see the difference that I see in these two situations. And if you look at every other major antagonist, the big ones in the story of One Piece, and you look at their motivations, you'll notice they're extremely different from Big Mom's as well. And so the next thing that I want to talk about is that Big Mom's homies have said some pretty creepy things. Will there be some strawberry jam? Oh, will it be made from someone's blood? It don't matter to me. It will be a sweet day with a perfectly devilish sacrifice. Here's another thing that they said in the Seducing Woods. Let's play a game of death. Madame Brûlée is having some fun with them right now. Whose food will they end up as? They would make quite a delicious smoothie. Also, by the way, there was the foreshadowing for the Commander smoothie. So here's what I want to say about this, guys. Like, the homies are threatening a lot of things in the way that they speak, but they haven't actually done anything to support the fact that they're saying it. I've already said that I believe that the whole Big Mom is a cannibal idea has been debunked. And then if you guys checked out my Big Mom's Lies, all of Big Mom's Lies video that I made just a couple of days ago, then you'll know that I believe that you should be skeptical about a lot of the things that are going on in Whole Cake Island because of the inconsistencies between what some characters say and other situations where characters say something completely different. This is just the same. The homies talk about a game of death in the Seducing Woods, but Big Mom herself gave Cracker and Brûlée orders not to kill the Straw Hats. So why would this be a game of death? The homies clearly don't know what they're talking about. Or they just like sounding very scary, but don't actually mean it. So I think this all paints a story in which the homies are just straight up lying. That they're saying this shit, but it actually doesn't have any meaning aside from creating the ultimate plot twist, in my opinion, that Big Mom is not as evil as she appears to be. Again, going back to what I said before, Big Mom does not kill without a reason, in my opinion. Like, for instance, if someone breaks their promises, specifically when they break their promises regarding sweets. So perhaps to Big Mom, they don't deserve to die, at least not yet. And the same would be true for every other supernova that stepped foot on Big Mom's territory. They all ended up surviving. Why did they survive? Well, because Big Mom perhaps didn't want to kill them. Perhaps unlike breaking promises regarding sweets, these supernova just didn't piss off Big Mom enough for her to actually order their deaths. Arouge's situation definitely makes me think that he could have easily been killed if Big Mom desired it. He was defeated in the Seducing Woods and left to die, but they did not kill him. And I do not think that he escaped before he was defeated. But if we go to another situation, Big Mom and her eldest son Perospero definitely threatened Caesar. But what's different between Caesar and the Straw Hat Pirates is that Caesar actually had a promise that he needed to fulfill that he currently wasn't. And so Caesar is doing exactly what pisses Big Mom off the most. But don't you guys find it interesting that it was not Big Mom herself who threatened Caesar? It was just Perospero. Honestly, from this scene, it paints Perospero as much more cruel than his mother. Big Mom honestly seems very patient and very trusting of Caesar when compared to her family member. And then going into some of the other situations that I mentioned in Big Mom's lies, we have this whole scene in which Big Mom is a selfish person who forces her children into arranged marriage. But yet we have Lola, who left home on search of a free and independent love. And as I speculated in the Big Mom's Lies video, she did so with the consent of her mama. Big Mom gave her a Viva card to return home after she had found a husband, which completely contradicts the idea that Big Mom absolutely won't let her children marry who they want. Perhaps, as I said earlier in this video, that she isn't willing to give her children anything. They have to earn it. So Lola basically earned the right to marry whoever she wanted, perhaps by just going up to Big Mom, being defiant and saying, "Hey, I'm going to do this, try and stop me." And as Big Mom said to Jinbei, all pirates should strive to live freely. So if Lola actually did this, was defiant, and did what she wanted, perhaps that honestly made Big Mom proud. And proud enough to give her a Viva card to return home one day after she had achieved her dreams. And so the last thing that I want to talk about is the fact that Big Mom gave Sanji handcuffs that would explode, similar to the handcuffs or neck cuffs that they put on slaves of celestial dragons. Having these seems incredibly douchey at best. But honestly, I believe that Big Mom has these and actually gave them to the Vinsmokes to give to Sanji to add another barrier to prevent Straw Hat Luffy and or Sanji escaping easily together from Whole Cake Island. As I've said in many theory posts, I believe that Big Mom is in some way testing Straw Hat Luffy. But for me to explain this in this video would be impossible due to time restraints, so I'm going to include a link to the video that I talk about Big Mom's interest in Luffy in the description for you guys to check out at your leisure, but that should explain Big Mom at least putting the cuffs on Sanji. But yeah guys, now you've gotten pretty much an explanation for every quote-unquote evil thing that Big Mom has done in the story up until this point. The only thing that I've excluded is how Big Mom has treated Pound. Basically, Brulee and Cracker suggest that Pound is worthless to Big Mom and Big Mom gave them orders to kill him at their leisure. This is the only thing that I cannot reasonably explain at this point in time. So I can't reasonably argue against this to paint Big Mom in a positive light. The only thing that I can possibly suggest is that this might be in some way another lie. But the circumstances of the lie are difficult to get into, so I'm going to leave that up to you. But I do want you to keep this in mind, which is that we have a lot of examples of Big Mom appearing to be evil, but I've reasonably explained all of them except for one. This should be enough to, at the very least, get you thinking about Big Mom's true role in the story. And so guys, in my next video, I'm going to make the jump. The jump from Big Mom isn't evil to Big Mom is an ally of the Straw Hats and possibly a good person. And there's lots of additional clues that I haven't talked about in this video or my Big Mom's Lies video that can lead us in that direction. But I want you to keep this video and that video in mind as well when you watch my next video. So yeah guys, let me know what you think about this. Let me know if I missed anything or you disagree with one of my points for whatever reason. Just let me know. Like the video if you liked the video. I'd appreciate it if you subscribed. And as always dudes, have a wonderful day.